Last time on Almost Heroes.
We started in Rangrim's room, and we needed to get away. We needed to prove our innocence of Rangrim's assassination, because we came in, there was like somebody with a mask. We talked about that, and we met Chesk, who was one of the council members. Kazmo was able to persuade his way out of being guilty and into diplomacy, being able to solve this assassination. So after which we kind of went on trying to figure it out. There was poison, so we were trying to figure out the poison. And then when Glyn went back to try and figure the poison out, or maybe come up with an antidote, he got attacked by this assassin. And then we went down into the mines and stopped the assassin, who was Rangrim's long lost daughter of 50 years.
Episode 12, Family Matters.
Holy crap, she was a real handful. Glyn walks over and picks up the dagger off the ground, and just kind of like puts that into I'm sure I have an available holster, and I pick up the mask and start walking over Rangrim. I'm holding it out. I'm like, Rangrim, you sure look a little spooked when you saw that face. I feel like that beard might have been similar to yours. Any relation? I hand the mask.
We haven't even determined if dwarven women have beards in this campaign or not, because I don't think they do.
She does.
Rangrim's daughter does not. Whether or
She does
not
not have a beard.
whether she shaves it or does not have one, we'll use our imaginations. But in this setting, she does not.
Yeah, she's whether it's because of her age or what. Essentially, she would be like 80 years old at this point, but that's still like pretty. I don't know.
That's
pretty young for a dwarf.
That's young for a dwarf. That's like 450 is the higher lifespan.
Yeah.
And so you said you handed me the
Mask.
mask.
Yeah.
So Rangrim just kind of takes it and he looks at it. And like fighting back tears, he's just like smashing it into the ground.
Oi, Rangrim, don't break it.
And he just kind of throws it. And like at the gate where she came from. Not like just more of just like a quick bit of rage, and he just starts yelling off into the deep. I'll find you. I'll find you. And he looks over to Glyn, and he takes the dagger from him. And he just is shouting to him, basically just shouting into the darkness at this point. I will make this happen by the old ways. And he kind of looks at Kazmo for a minute and looks back. Blood and fire. And he just cuts his own face, like right down his left eye with the poison dagger, and throws it on the ground and just kind of starts slowly walking out of the mine.
I look to Glyn, turns to Cosmo and goes, I think I might have said something.
Oi, Glyn, that was I'm very, very confused, even as a dwarf. Very. But I
Did you
reckon
start walking towards. Sorry, go ahead.
I reckon we should take this dagger and mask, even though he left it.
I walk over towards the mask and like I'm lazy. It's been a long day. I mage hand the last like 10 feet and just have it float over towards me. And I pick up the dagger and stashes. I'm assuming Rangrim started walking towards the Matic or the Iron Woman.
He's not even making like a quick clip. He's just like somberly walking out of the.
I look to Cosmo and I just kind of shrug and I start following Rangrim.
Well, I'll take care of him. And I kind of hurry ahead, and I just kind of slump my big arm over his shoulder. It's all right, Rangrim. I know we all have our skeletons. It'll be all right.
Thank you, Cosmo. He's kind of like wincing because
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
eye a bit. He's like, well, I hope that someday you might find me an honorable dwarf too. And he takes the bandage off of his right hand, or the ribbon that was his daughter's, and just shows it to Cosmo. And he's like, I couldn't cut this fucking eye out.
No, but the marks of our past won't define us. We are who we are in our futures.
I.
Glyn looks to
Yeah.
Gary and Greg and boys.
These
Greg.
two guards.
I forgot they're there.
I forgot
I
about
got
Gary
this.
and Greg.
They are
Yeah.
fucking terrified watching what Rangrim just did, and I assume that like Rangrim, your eye is like I'll say that like you cut it straight down, so it didn't like it's not like it was a stab, so like you're not going numb, but like it's kind of like it's got Novocaine almost on the side of it, and like there's just blood like running down and dripping off your chin, like at this point out of your beard.
Mm-hmm.
Call out to Gary and Greg. I'm like, Gary, it looks like you're gonna get to see that beautiful wife of yours after all, but you're gonna go ahead and tell Chesk about this, right? We don't need to necessarily follow you down there. We're gonna go take care of our buddies. He's going through something. Can you run ahead and let Chesk know what you saw today?
Gladly.
And I follow Rangrim and Cosmo to wherever we're headed.
Yeah, they head out and start heading towards the Boulder Fist compound.
Is that a 2?
It's
No,
one.
it's 1. Oh, we're coming out and
Yeah.
they just head up. Okay.
Yeah, they just head up around.
Catch up to
Three.
the group. I say, boys, you think we might need to go check in on Chav? And I mean, maybe your mom too, Cosmo. I can't really tell what the connection is besides us. We might need to kind of do some planning for this next step before we go after her.
Well, if they didn't know where me mom is, I don't reckon now would be a good time to go back. But
It's a great point.
maybe we head
It's
over.
getting pretty late, isn't it?
I'm really not.
Like time.
I'm really
You tell
not
us,
sure.
DM. It's your world.
I think it is because the events of all this stuff happened around like you found Chav outside of the house around like noon or something like that because you had just gone and talked to Rangrim that day, and then he came back later in the day to talk to you. Wait, then he
Well,
died.
I think we were
'cause
supposed
we
to
went-
meet him
we-
early in the evening, and this was all like late night shenanigans.
Okay.
Basically, so it would be
This has
pretty
been
much.
a very long fucking day.
Yeah,
been a
it's actually
long
super
day.
late. That's a good point. Although looking at the sun very much gone, I think we might need some rest too. We
right.
head back to Luther's Legends, and maybe I'll close the door this time.
Yep, I reckon we should probably do that. We should stay together tonight.
Oh,
Oh.
boys, I forgot to tell you. And then I like tell them the whole the whole story of me getting attacked, so they're aware that she was like able to transform and yada yada yada.
Oh yeah, that's right. We never were able to.
No one was there but me.
Well-
I wasn't able to find an anti-venom, but I think with this dagger I might have a little more time. We might be able to work something out.
Right, we should get back. I have some ideas as to what our next steps might be, and might have a little bit of work ahead of us before bed. So we go back to Luther's place.
Yeah, so you head back there, and it's just as you left it. I don't even know. The door's probably still open, I would assume, because you were kind of hiding when the assassin dressed as
She
Luther
was the
came out.
last one out. Did she close the door?
Probably not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I think the door's
An assassin
probably-
and she's rude.
It's absolutely. How did Rangrim raise her? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
hell of a job you did there, Rangrim.
Bad parenting.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
nice
see-
for a Grey Dwarf. You should see
you
the
can
other one.
see you can see just the doors open as you approach, and it seems like things have kind of quieted down. You can see that there are a decent amount of soldiers that are kind of milling around more than usual, but it's not something, and they're pretty there's a pretty large amount of them kind of consolidated around where the barracks would be. So that, aside from that, like, there's more going on than normal at this time of night, but it's not like anything's crazy falling apart anymore. It seems like things have quieted down.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so you get back to Luther's Legends, and the floor is closed because that was how Glyn locked them in, and so essentially, yeah. But all the lanterns are lit, and you go in and shut the door behind you this time.
Okay.
I check I make a glancing check at that old chest. Does it look disturbed? Does it look like maybe Luther might be back?
It doesn't look disturbed. I assume that did you relock the lock afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. So then no, it's still sitting there locked and it looks unperturbed.
Okay.
Okay.
Head downstairs.
Yep.
Kazmo, you said you had some late night work we need to take care of. What do you have in mind?
Well, one thing I think, Rangrim, I need you to finish making a copy of that seal. And I reckon we need to make a plan for that. But do you want to work on that anti-venom, or do you feel that we are at peace for the time being, Glyn?
I think I don't think we're going to see that assassin necessarily immediately, but maybe after a nice rest. While you guys are still sleeping, I'll wake up a little early and I'll get some work done on it.
Roll for initiative.
Should have focused on the anti-venom. Thousands of spiders. Yeah. I think I could take care of that in the morning. What do you have in mind for the rest of the night? You wanted to use that seal. I figured that might have been a good resource to send a message, but honestly, I've been so confused since I got to this town. I'm not really quite sure what to even say. You have anything in mind?
Well, I have something in mind, but for now, I'll likely keep that to myself. If you don't mind, I have some reading to do, and I pull my book out, and I start kind of looking around. We're in the under portion, right?
Yeah. So I'll just do a quick recap of what this room looks like.
Yeah.
So down below, it's a cylindrical room that has 4 alcoves coming off of it that were cylindrical room that has kind of a domed ceiling that has these like magical ball lights hanging and floating through the air. In the center room, there's like this kind of hot spring pool that's a healing pool. And then there are the 4 alcoves. You have a teleportation circle that is not active. You have a magical library, an alchemist library, and what was the last one?
Magic library, alchemist library, and
magic, herb, alch, and teleportation circle.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So herbalist station and alchemist station. That's what it was.
Glyn,
and then
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, straight off of that, when you go in the room, there's a small hallway that has rooms coming off of it that are essentially like bedrooms to stay in.
Glyn just immediately slowly walks into the pool and just sits down and just like a jacuzzi, just leans back, says, well, if you don't have anything for me right away, I'm just gonna hang out and then I just fall asleep or go into an elven trance. I'm just
Rangrim would go off to just one of the rooms, and I think we had it written down that I already spent 40 minutes on the copying his signet ring, so I'd take another 20 to try and finish that, or maybe if it takes a little longer to get up my juices, I don't know.
That's 20 to 30 minutes. I think you're able to wrap that up.
Okay.
So Rangrim takes the signet ring and hands it over to Kazmo while he's reading his book.
Right, and it's an exact duplicate.
Exact. No one's ever gonna know it's not the real one, except maybe for the color. So you might not want to get caught with it.
That's all right. I'll keep it to myself. And
Rangrim looks over at Glyn in the pool and he goes, "Elf."
Kind of jerk awake. Yeah.
And he tosses it over to him and he goes, "You can have this one."
And just like one eye open, I catch it and just like hold it.
Maybe if we can put it back, it might make us not look so conspicuous. Then Rangrim goes off into the magic library and he's looking at some of the books, and then he just pulls out some hempen rope from his little healer's kit and starts stitching his eye closed.
Damn.
Glyn, sitting in the hot tub, I guess, slides a ring onto his finger and, like, kind of eyes closed, just yells out to Cosmo, we got to get him more of those DOS dogs. His vocabulary is really expanding. And it's kind of like...
Choice time.
Oh, man. That was good. I reckon it'll make a great dwarf out of him. Plenty of DOS dogs.
Part of a balanced diet.
Right.
And vocabulary.
And vocabulary.
Still eyes closed. I'm yelling over to Cosmo. What do you need me to work on, man? I could use the rest, but if you got some goals for the night, I'd rather do them sooner rather than later.
I just really want that. I really think we should have that ring back. But if you think we might have a better opportunity tomorrow, once things settle down, then we'll take it.
I can, and he, like, kind of lifts his head up and opens his eyes, like, I can take care of this real quick before I go to bed. I think I got some juice in me, and I kind of, like, try to jump around, but it's not festive. It is just tired. Just drained. So what do you have in mind? You need me to drop this off, or?
Maybe we just take it back to the room. Maybe not necessarily with the body. That doesn't sound like it would be an easy trip. But something back to his quarters.
I think that's a great idea. I imagine his room's got to be attached to that big old office that he had.
I reckon maybe.
That's a good assumption.
You didn't see any doors off of it, but that doesn't mean they're not any there. It's just that they could be hidden passages or something.
Gotcha.
But essentially, it was just his office. And you also would probably assume that the body's probably not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah. I feel like he took it. Yeah. Right. Yep. Just maybe even just get it back into the office, and that would be sufficient.
Hey man, I've stolen more expensive pieces. I'm sure I could figure out how to put them back. And he just, like, starts to get out of the tub and starts kind of, like, getting ready to head out.
Well, what I need from me is I need a fine piece of parchment and wax Kindle. And I look around.
I saw plenty of that in the alchemist lab.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that anywhere over there there's candles, there's
Okay.
everything you need.
Hey, do you need me here for this part, or should I just get going now while you're doing this?
No, you can get going.
Sounds good. And I walk out.
Just for brevity's sake, unless you have something that you want to do on the way, you can just roll me 2 stealth checks, and then we can see how you do.
Okay.
Just getting back in.
Just kind of wrapping it up while he's doing those rolls. Basically, all what you see is you'll see Kazmo sit down with this parchment, his book, and he writes in a letter, and then he folds it, puts it.
Which letter? A?
Multiple.
B?
A few.
C?
Couple.
D?
At least a few dozen. There's at least 26.
Sorry, I cut you off.
You're good. So you just see him, like, writing, and then you see him, like, fold it into the envelope, and then uses some hot wax to seal it with the replica of Brongrim's seal.
Okay. Do you want to tell me what these things are?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
as he thinks about what
It's a present for me. I can't wait to open this later.
I would, as an attempt to kind of help myself, I would be using Find Familiar. I'd be using Poe to kind of scout my path to avoid people. Could I maybe get advantage on one of the rolls?
Yes, you can.
And as he walks
It's also
out,
late at night.
Rangrim would see him going on the task that he knows what he's doing and tap him on the shoulder and say, "Go well, Glyn," and give him guidance.
Nice.
I got a thank you for the advantage because I rolled on that one. I got a 18 and a dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say that you're able to get over there, and the front door, it's not guarded. There's no one. I mean, there's no one to guard anymore. So essentially, it's locked, but you're able to pick the lock, get inside, drop it off. The room is essentially almost pitch black. It's almost the same scene that you saw before you left. Like there's the chip in the wall from Cosmo swinging his hammer. There's the blood all over the desk from from Brongren dying. And yeah, it's just devoid of people, probably kind of eerie, but you're able to get in there and you just set it down on the desk and then peace out.
Once I set it down on the desk, kind of take like another pass of the room. And I actually set the ring down and position myself in next to his chair, and I just sit into his chair to kind of position myself where he was and kind of just think about the fact that he got shanked in the eye. Get chills thinking of it and kind of stand up and check my corners and come home.
Cool.
Because I'm pretty sure she's right behind me at all times.
Just gonna get you.
Right. Well, that's all I had before bed. Before we long rest it.
The only other thing Rangrim would have, he was in the magic library, and any of the books, because we went over the fact that Rangrim cannot read common, but he can read undercommon, and I think I have deep speech or something. But he can read undercommon, so any book he can read, he's looking for anything in the magic library with reference to the symbol, the red hand, or the hand with the eye in it.
Okay. What kind of books are you looking into in particular? If you're looking at essentially magical history, these are not going to be. They're going to be essentially lore and actual
It would be anything that's any books that he might look at that look like they pertain to the Underdark or Underdark. Magic's more common to the Underdark. Basically, he's kind of looking at a book that looks like it might have came from the Underdark, whether it's the binding or something like that. That's the first thing he's going for.
Okay. Yeah, so as you're looking through, you roll me a history check. I think that there's more that you can glean from this.
That is a 15, and I don't think I have a bonus to history because I think it's actually intelligence.
Do you get guidance?
I did not give myself guidance. That's just a dirty 15.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was a per person.
Yeah, so as you're going through this book and you're looking, I think that you learn more about the fact that you don't find anything than you do anything else. So there is so as you're going through this and you're looking through different kinds of drow symbology and runes and different kinds of ways that different Underdark civilizations cast spells, and it's this study on the Underdark cultures and the way that they cast spells, and it's very different. And it's conspicuous for the fact that as you're looking at this thing and looking at the symbol, you're realizing that this is definitely not some kind of civilizational symbol. This is not something that's been around for a long time. This is something that has probably not been around longer than the Sundering. So it's more recent. And so that's kind of what you're kind of starting to see, is that this is not a magical symbol. Whatever this is, this icon, this logo, this thing you keep saying is not a magical symbol inherently, but it symbolizes something still. And you feel like you'll find it. You're just not looking in the right place. And that's kind of what you get from this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. And as we know, Rangrim's not very much a strong reader, so he'd only spent probably maybe an hour to two at this before turning in for the evening.
Cool. So everyone's kind of cruising on over to their respective rooms, or Glyn, are you sleeping in the hot tub?
Yeah, 100% sleeping in the hot tub. Glyn sets his double-bladed scimitar, and he's sitting with his back facing the stairs that lead down. Sorry. He's sitting with his back, so he is facing the stairs that are leading down. Like he is watching that door kind of in and out of his trance for the next 4 hours. And then before the group wakes up, or is there something you want to happen at night? But I have something I want to do before they wake up. If that.
Yeah, I actually have something for each of you.
Cool.
So, Kazmo, what are you doing? Like before you go to bed, how are you settling into bed?
It's so settling
on your
into
tummy,
bed.
On your back, on your side. Are you
really,
a left or a right guy?
I really like
pillow between your legs. What are you doing?
Somebody to be the big spoon.
Cannon. Kazmo is always small soon. Yes.
That's
his
fine.
Tracer body pillow hat. He has that with him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
So just settling into bed, I think I'm reminisce in this journal that I have. I'm a little.
So you're going to bed reading it.
Yeah, I just kind of settle in reading. Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're like kind of reading back on this part of your dad's history as a paladin, where like it's kind of the part where he was back in, he was already in Tin Town, and he just kind of like, it's talking about some just like the day-to-day monotony of like going down into the mines and fighting and doing that kind of stuff. And honestly, just like, it's kind of like a level of comfort of the fact that you're like, you feel a connection with your father, that, you know, that is important to you. And so like, it's just kind of something that like, maybe you go back to this passage from time to time, just to like feel comfort. And so like, as you're reading this, you kind of drift off to sleep, and it's probably this, you know, that level of comfort and that like familiarity that brings you to the dream that you end up having, which is, you kind of like, you find yourself, when you have like a couple different dreams throughout the night, but this is the one that sticks with you and you remember, and you're younger. You're probably, I think, how old is Kazmo at this point? I think you're definitely a younger dwarf.
I'm a younger dwarf. I'm not really sure.
I think well, the Sundering happened 50 years ago. You were alive before the Sundering, so like maybe
80.
Maybe you were young. Okay.
Well,
so yeah, you were you were a younger dwarf, and you just have this memory of you were at home with your mother, and it's just a normal day, and you're in Tin Town, and then someone comes and knocks on the door, and when your mother goes and answers the door, you see the outline of 3 dwarves there. And at first you kind of see them silhouetted against the sun. You're like, oh, like, you know, your dad's home. Like it's a kind of, you know, it's getting towards that time, towards the end of the evening, sun's going down. They're kind of silhouetted by it. And then you can kind of see that like your mom's expression changes pretty dramatically, and everything kind of just gets a little bit more somber. And then you can kind of like, you hear Brongrin, and you can kind of see his outline with his, you notice now that this is not your father. And you see the outline with like the one arm missing. And you hear them talking about that there was an accident in the mine, and there was an explosion, and that your father and his whole team was killed in the accident. And your mother is absolutely destroyed, and is like completely like just absolutely bawling. And the last part of the dream is that you just you remember Brongrin kind of like going, just kind of moving to you, because you're standing by your mother now, and he just like puts his hand on your shoulder, and he just, yeah, I'm so sorry, me boy. He was a good man, a good dwarf. I was lucky to know him. And that's kind of like where that memory, and I think it probably goes further than that, but I think it kind of blurs out at that point. You kind of like, but that's the part of it that you remember, and that you'll remember when you wake up. But yeah, Rangrim, how do you sleep?
Rangrim just I think he went to one of the rooms, so for once he's actually going to take one of the beds, and he would just be probably laying on his back, maybe with some sort of cloth on his freshly stitched eyeball.
Is the eye actually cut? Did you actually cut your own eyeball, or did you cut the like over the top of it?
Like cool eye scar, but definitely blinded myself in the left eye.
Fuck. Okay. We might have to work on some
Stuff.
stats there. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Well, did he have his goggles on?
no. We were in the mine. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
He tries to, like, in a fit of rage, I swear this oath, and I'm just like, why isn't it working?
A little bit sharper than, I guess the blade was probably a little sharper than he thought it was going to be. Yeah. So like, I mean, it's probably fitful going to sleep. Like, I mean, I assume that it's probably not like you're turning around like lots in your head. And eventually at some point, you do kind of find yourself falling asleep. And as you do, like through this kind of fitful night, it's almost like fever dream, kind of like in and out of like these different shapes and things. And like, you can like your daughter, Regalia, is kind of like this almost like this dark silhouette that's like moving through these dreams in these different places. And it feels like it's like a constant, like trying to reach her. And at some point, you find yourself like where you're just like in this black void, and there's this outline of Regalia. It's just her, your daughter, and just her silhouette. And there's like this faint light in this line behind her. And you hear this voice, this absolutely like pitch deep voice that just asks you,
"Are you coming to me?"
Rangrim would say, I'm coming for you.
What do you intend?
Your death, whatever fuck thing you are, you're gonna die.
this burning eye with this like green and orange iris opens up behind the silhouette of Regalia, and it just says,
"I await you."
and then it shuts and it turns black, and your dream kind of from that point is just like, it just kind of goes back to that like chasing fever dream, but a lot more like just abstract at that point.
All good things.
Glyn,
At least none of our dreams are ominous tonight.
Mine had a better end than yours, I think, but maybe I don't know.
I
Mine
just sleep through the night perfectly fine. It's great.
yeah, Glyn, you do. You have your 4 hours of like, I mean, I'll say that you're super paranoid. Like you're definitely like staring at that door in your weird elven trance where you don't actually close your eyes. You just stare blankly at the fucking staircase coming down. Nothing happens. Nothing happens through the night, aside from the fact that you're probably hearing fits of noise from your, just like noise, like, when people don't sleep soundly from the other rooms. Nothing to alarm you at any point. But yeah, you make it through your 4 hours, and you know that you still have a couple hours before they wake up. What do you do?
So Glyn would kind of pull himself out, dry himself off, and you'd walk over to the alchemist lab. And again, he would sit kind of with his back away from the entryway. He's watching the entryway. He sets his weapon directly in front of him, and then he pulls out the knife, and he would just start trying to like pick apart basically any type of clue that he can of what's in this venom, what can be used to maybe treat it, what can be used to make it more potent. I mean, anything that he can just like discern from the tools that he has access to and his experience as like a poisoner. Like, how can he synthesize this? I imagine it's impossible to transfer oil to oil. Like I can't just like rub my swords together. So like,
Right.
I want to be able to like mass produce this without it being, I went and fought a giant spider like to get it. Like,
Right.
can I synthesize this in any way?
Right. One question. Are you doing your normal routine in the morning?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Sorry. So yeah, always say my little prayer to Chandril and do my flourish of
Okay.
super dope things. I'm going to go for lighting that shit on fire again with Green Flame Blade before. Felt a little confident. I burned a little bit of the bedpost, but it wasn't that much damage. I'm sure I could do okay.
Okay. So you start the day, and you're going through you're doing your prayer, and then you light the scimitar, the two-sided scimitar on fire, and you start doing your normal things, and you just feel great, and you feel like just extremely connected to Chandril today. And as you're spinning and your eyes are closed and you're just like absolutely in the moment of this, you feel the scimitar stop in midair, and as if you've like come into contact with a foe. And it doesn't make a noise of clanging. There's no noise of any kind. What do you do?
I would open my eyes, really. Like, I would like focus on whatever's stopping. Wherever I feel the force, I would be looking that way.
You open your eyes and you see this blue, like kind of slightly translucent, slightly opaque outline of a person, of an elven form, live elven form, wearing these like similar garb to what you're wearing, and they have their hair tied up in like a tight bun behind them, and they are one-handed holding the scimitar in the air as if they've caught it, and it almost as if they're like, you can see like a little bit of energy coming from the scimitar itself into this form, and they say, "Glyn Alyssus, it is great to meet you. My name is Chanterelle."
I immediately do like a sweeping leg kick. I try to trip him.
She jumps over it. She jumps over it and kind of like is floating in the air. And she says, "You may not recognize me. I am the master thief and champion assassin of the Valinor, and also your patron."
I'll be honest, I thought this would be more of like a somber moment, not necessarily so loud.
What is there to be sad about? Look at our connection. Look at your power that courses through you.
I always thought this was just kind of a thing that, I'd reach out. I was raised to do this. I didn't actually know I was going to talk. Nice to meet you. And I extended arm. I'm Glyn Yaris. Nice to meet you.
She puts her hand out, and like there's no connection by any way, shape, or form. It seems like one of the, like, she can interact with the blade, but it doesn't seem like she can interact with you, or she's not actually like manifesting herself to be able to do it.
Does she reach out and try to do it, and we just like go through it?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like there, and you're like, oh wait, this is not this is a not corporeal form. Well, what can I help you with?
Again, I didn't really have much plans to ever actually get a response on this thing. I just kind of put it out there, broadcast, if you will, and this is the first time you've responded. Where the hell have you been?
That is a great question. I have a very busy person. I have plenty of things to do in the astral plane, but your power has grown so that you have become worthy of my attention.
Thank you. That's great news. I mean, I've been trying to do right by you. I've been tricking people and stealing and insulting. It's been pretty busy. I invented this new thing called accompliceult. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's where you
accompliceult.
You say something nice and hurt their feelings at the same time. It really puts you at a neutral, if you will.
That seems like a very, very tactile weapon that could be used in certain ways.
That's what I've been working on, making weapons. So, I mean, this is pretty
Powerful.
nice. How do I get your attention, and what does that mean for me? I feel like I don't have food. Do I need to make you something?
No. You misunderstand. You find yourself in the honored position of being my new, well, essentially, as me as your patron, you are to be trained underneath the powerful and mighty Chanterelle, the master thief and champion assassin of the Valinor. I will be back. I will watch your doings and make me proud. And she disappears.
Can I like insight check that as it's happening? Do I believe that this is, well, do I one believe this is Chanterelle, and two, am I like okay with the fact that this is Chanterelle? Like, do I like recognize that it's this
hey,
person?
search your heart there.
Oh my god, I got a fucking 2. So like,
I mean, that's a
Not a
pretty
lot.
fair thing
Got
to be
4.
taken off guard that much by like this thing that you've been like, this patron that was like, obviously it's a mighty warrior of the Valinor, but like you have never met them. You don't know who they were or what they were in life. And so like,
And didn't realize they sounded like a game show host.
I, as a player, didn't know that they could actually be interacted with. Like, I'm fully taken.
well,
Okay.
consider yourself interacted with.
So Glyn, like, then just is kind of like taken aback. It's like, don't really know what we need to do with that, but Chandrell, I'll do my best to make you proud. And then I walk over and start studying the poison.
You've literally showed up like, you've won a prize, Chandrell. Like,
Love it.
that was awesome. Oh shit.
I don't think it's going to be good for me. I think it has potential to be good for me. I think I'm going to have to kill somebody. And then for the last however much time is left, I spent some time trying to synthesize and study the poison.
Cool. Yeah, so roll me a... Like, what do we want to do for that? Nature check? Probably nature. Let's do nature.
Nature.
Neat.
Yeah, I do have my poisoner's kit. I don't know if that does anything.
I'll say you have advantage because you're in the alchemist lab as well.
Well, it's a big old 7.
Okay, 7. You are able to get a small amount of this off of the blade, but as you're kind of looking into it, you don't know whether or not you're just not talented enough to do so or what. But you realize that this thing seems, when you're synthesizing it, it's very naturally derived. This was from something. It's not something that you can it's not artificial. And you haven't figured out a way to make it artificially, which there might be a way, but it's extremely complex, and you don't have any of the anything that you would need to synthesize this. But you are able to get a small vial off of it, enough to sneak into someone's food or coat one weapon with.
Okay. Tuck the dagger away and kind of sheath it again on my hip. I imagine it's right around when people start waking up. So is there a kitchen in Luther's Legends?
Yeah, it would be upstairs. Essentially, it would have been a kind of more of a quarters for preparing food and then bringing it out to the banquet table. So it's in a separate room upstairs.
So 20 minutes before I think the guys wake up, I run off to DOS Dogs and I buy 6 DOS Dogs, and I run back and I pretend like I made them. I completely just set them up like it's a homemade, I remove all the hot dogs, all the wieners from the buns and pile them up so it looks like those are
like a terrible DoorDash commercial where they pretend.
Yep.
As you run over there, Glyn, you do notice that there's a lot of what seems like people that are kind of amassing around. So as you're going down into the area in front of the mines where Das normally has his cart at, you notice that there just are people that are kind of collecting. There's more people out than normal, and they're wearing kind of more somber, dour clothing. And there seems to just be a lot of stuff going on over there at the Boulder Fist compound.
Okay. I see that, and I take note of it, and I run back, and as the guys are coming upstairs, whenever they do that, that's where I'll pick up. So I don't know if they're going to do something first.
No. So everyone's kind of waking up, and what are they waking up to?
So we're waking up to this spread of basically kind of very obviously hot dog buns that were already stuffed, but have been unstuffed. But he's doing his best to make it look like he made it. He looks over the guys because I think word of Brongrim's death might have got out. There seemed to be a little ceremony for him over at the mines, but I didn't want you guys to get hungry, so I took my crack at maybe some DOS Dogs. Maybe I could run the kitchen for the next franchise that we open up. Why don't you guys go ahead and try these?
You made these.
I made them.
Insight check.
Insight check.
Oh my god.
17.
Ah, fuck. Yeah, you got it. I'm not even close.
Nice.
Now, does he call him out on
12.
it? That's the question.
I don't make eye contact with you while I'm saying it. I'm like, I made them.
They look almost like the real thing.
That's what I was going for, man.
Say,
I'm just gonna take one and just eat a hot dog and walk back to his quarters. And by the way, he was sleeping in the nude, so he was naked this whole time you were serving him hot dogs. He's going to put his clothes back.
As Kazmo comes out for breakfast, is also and is making his DOS dog, he says, I wonder what it's like out there right now. If there's a lot of people around or not. And he just wanders off with his hot dog.
No, thank you. No, okay, bye. Okay, and I eat it, Austin.
No, you didn't make it. Over his shoulder. But thanks
That's
for
fair.
going and getting them.
Yeah, you it doesn't take you long. You guys are sitting there eating your hot dogs that were definitely made by Glyn, not by Doss. And
Correct.
you aren't doing that long before you start hearing the sound of bells tolling. And it's like, so the first, you get the first bell and it's like, oh shit, is there an attack down in the mine? And then you get a second bell.
Fuck.
And then it kind of keeps going, and you get to the third bell and you're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And then there's a fourth, and then finally a fifth bell that tolls. And that last one kind of that last note hangs in the air. And I don't think you guys know what 5 bells tolling means.
Mm-mm.
I'm looking at
Would
my notes.
Kazmo? I don't know. Have I heard this before?
I don't think that you would have never encountered it.
Okay.
If you know it from in the mine, then you might, but it's not something that would ever be a normal occurrence.
Okay. As a player, you get to tell me. I don't know if I know this.
Roll a history check for me. I'll tell you if you get the right thing.
Okay, let's roll these d20s. I have no fucking clue.
Roll these bones.
It's a history check.
Yeah.
It's a 10.
Okay. I'll say that you, from your knowledge of working in the mines, you probably know that it probably doesn't have to do with attacks in the mine. It's probably something else, and that is just like another alert of some kind that you've just never encountered.
Okay, that's fine.
When I hear the fifth toll, Glyn would look over and be like, boys, I think we may or may not be getting summoned, but that sounds kind of like an all call, but maybe we need to make our way down to the mines.
We gotta do something.
Let's go.
Rangrim finishes getting dressed, but first he goes over and grabs Kazmo's war pick, and I would use my Blessing of the Forge to give that a +1 until my next rest.
Rad.
+1 what? Like damage?
Yeah, it's a +1. It's now
a +1 weapon.
So
it's a magic weapon today.
+1 to attack.
Oh, so it gives me a +1 to hit?
+1 to hit and +1 to damage.
Okay. I don't know that there's any way to do that to my character sheet, is there?
D&D Beyond, click on it, and then top right corner, you'll see hit override. 2 hit override, and then damage override. Look to kind of see a glow, I'm guessing, of the item. Be like, I feel a little bit singled out, but that's okay. And I like hop up to my feet, like the most chipper you've ever seen Glyn, who almost never has emotional reaction to anything, and just like whistles as he walks out the front door and just starts walking towards the mining group.
I'll say that you, when you're holding on to your double-bladed scimitar now, like you feel a connection with it, like more than you ever have. It's like almost like it's like warm in your, like kind of like a warm heat, like a friendly warm heat to your touch when you're holding this weapon now.
Oh, I see it. Sorry.
When I walk out and I'm all excited and I'm whistling, I like kick down the door and I pull it out and I just do like a whirling dervish the whole way there. Like I'm just like spinning it and like
you're in a
baton,
fucking parade
just
with a
super
baton.
excited walking to it. Yeah.
Pull out a whistle
But
and start marching.
It's like a 6-foot blade. Throwing it up, I'm like nodding to people. It's like the happiest you've ever seen Glyn.
So as you all go outside, it becomes pretty apparent that like there is a big group of people that are amassing down in the kind of like lower tier area of the city, just kind of in a U shape around the Boulderfist compound. And there seems to be this like progression, this procession that is leading up from the bottom, all clothed in like dark clothing. And so as you're getting closer, you're seeing this, but like they seem to be like going up towards the top, like to the very tippy top of the compound, to the top level, and going up on top of the building. And they seem to, once you see them get up there, you see that they are assembling what looks like a funeral pyre.
Damn.
A what?
A funeral pyre.
Oh, okay.
So like a big, like essentially a watchtower that they are for burning bodies.
Yeah. No, I know what a funeral pyre is. I just didn't hear pyre. I heard. I don't know.
And
Funeral
sorry,
pie.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as you guys are walking down there, the 5 bells do toll again. Just
When they're kind of lining up and walking up, is there anybody by the entrance of the like front door? Like, is there like people walking like near the entranceway to like his like office area, that long hallway? Or are they all
No,
kind of
it
just
seems-
like walking past it?
They're all in the dirt area. So like in the dirt area in front of one, they're all kind of amassed down in there. They're all looking up. Think of like a
When you say
like
in
a-
front of, you mean like north, like between 1 and
yeah,
5?
sorry, north.
Okay.
Yeah, north, exactly. So they're kind of amassing in that U on the northern side, and they are, think of it all like a Lion King kind of thing, where they're all looking up at this funeral pyre that is being, that's going slowly, snaking its way up to the top, and is now being assembled up top there. And as they get up there, they set you can see that they seem to be setting a body up there as well.
Looked at Cosmo. I was like, Cosmo, this is real nice ceremony you guys do around here. I took care of that thing you asked me to do earlier. I've dropped off. I returned his goods, but let's go say.
I feel. Can you? I should have asked you to do this before, but do you think you can put this there? And I hand him. What?
Hand me the scroll.
I hand you the envelope.
I'm gonna make him go back a second time.
Well,
I'm a man of honor. I do not necessarily spend a lot of time in a dead man's off, and then I'm just like start cracking up. I was like, nah, man, I'm just kidding. I'm happily gonna do that. And I just take it and I
sorry.
put my double-bladed scimitar back, and I like.
It was late, and I should have asked you. I should have said, just give me a minute, and I forgot.
See, that was a better law. You didn't have me with the hot dogs, but that one, I thought you were serious for a minute. I thought you was cracking up.
Are you going to do it right now?
Shoulder and give him guidance.
Okay. Are you going to do it right now? Because essentially every single person is looking up at the front of this building that you're trying to sneak into.
Oh yeah. Fuck it.
Okay. You have disadvantage. So if guidance gives you're gonna have disadvantage plus guidance.
Yeah, so I kind of like walk up.
Rangrim, are you, Glyn, are you sure this is a good idea? We don't have to do it now.
And I was like, as I'm skipping, kind of like come to a stop. I'm like, are you sure? I feel like they're pretty distracted. And I point to them like all kind of looking up, which is also towards the front door, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it is.
Is there another way in?
And I looked at him like,
Can't.
you might be right. We might need to hold on this. I should probably stop being
Glyn,
so chipper around this too.
Glyn, can Poe take it?
I don't know if a lot of people here would necessarily think a flying bird with a scroll is suspicious.
It's just a small envelope.
We could try.
But it's
I'll
just
try
a thought. I certainly don't want you to put yourself at risk during our Brongrim's celebration.
I poof like Poe to my finger. I look at Poe. I'm like, hey, Poe, do you want to do this? Do you want to go? And I like point to it and like aim him at it. Do you want to go through that front door? Can you get in there secretly?
Isn't there a window on the back?
Glyn.
And he just poofs away. He just dips.
Isn't there a window on the back?
No, there's no windows.
window.
No windows.
And it's literally, so like if you look
okay.
at this, so the northern side of the mine, like the mine entrance is right there on the northern side. That little doorway directly above that entrance is the main entrance to Brongrim's office.
Oh, okay.
Like it was straight on.
Looked at Kazmo and said, I don't think it's going to happen today, but
Oh well, I think I better hang on to it then.
hand it back to him. Start approaching the U.
Okay.
Yeah, you're essentially pushing through a crowd at this point. If you're trying to get closer, there's a large group of people that have collected here, probably half the town at least.
I walk up to like just kind of the guys and just kind of like stand next to them and observe the observe the experience, but I still have like a smirk the whole time.
So as we're getting closer, do we see any familiar like faces?
Yes, yes, you actually do. So as you're pushing through, you see a small consolidation of soldiers, not a very big, like maybe 3 to 4, and you see the back of Chav, or Constable Hunter, who is standing kind of like in loose formation in the center of these soldiers.
Okay.
And he's just kind of looking forward, and they're all just kind of like, it doesn't seem like they're there for any kind of duty. They're just
Okay.
they seem to be just kind of watching like everyone else is.
I approach lightly and I just quietly, Chav, Constable Chav.
He looks around and, oh, it's actually great to see you. I wanted to thank you. Actually, you Rangrim, right? Is that?
Aye.
And he kind of like looks down at his stomach, goes, I would have been a goner last night if it wasn't for your help. I sincerely appreciate it, and as far as I'm concerned, I owe you one.
Unfortunately for you, I'll remember that. And he sticks his hand out and to shake his hand.
Yeah, he shakes your hand, and he's kind of holding your hand. He's like, hey, actually, I have something I'd really like to speak with all of you about. I know that we talked about it a little bit when I first got to town, but I think that after the events of last night, things have taken a little bit more of a dire tone. So if after this is over, I would love to meet someplace private. If you have a place that we could, I would prefer that over having you come to the barracks just for privacy's sake.
I think that could be arranged. Right, Kazmo?
Right. Yep, it sure can. I reckon, do you have a place in mind, or we have a place on just up on the hill?
I haven't been in town even for a full day yet, so I kind of defer to you on this one.
Well, what a day it's been then, I suppose. But if you meet us up on the north side of the town, there's a large tent on top of it, usually.
I was wondering what that was for.
That's where, just meet us there, and we'll speak then.
I look forward to it. I think that we need to figure some things out. There's clearly something more going on in this town that is putting people at risk, and hopefully we can put a stop to it.
Agreed.
As he's talking, you start hearing this kind of like drums beating from up on top, and it kind of pulls everyone's attention forward, and Chav turns back around. And you see that there is like you see 4 figures that all are holding torches, and they're kind of slowly, and it's kind of hard to see what they look like from down below, but you can see different heights and dimensions to them. And you see that they all kind of approach the pyre from different sides and light it ablaze. And the drums kind of continue through this throughout at a consistent pace, and everyone just kind of watches on. And as this funeral pyre burns and kind of like sends a huge pillar of smoke and fire up into the air, and over time, people kind of start to wander back off to their homes, and it seems like things are kind of dispersing as the pyre is kind of like turning more into a pile of ash at this point, and cinders, and the kind of the ceremony of it has gone away, and the amount of drums kind of like drop off, and it becomes just kind of like a couple at this point that are kind of keeping up a solitary march while the rest of the embers of the pyre burn down.
I think that we would kind of linger near towards or at least Kazmo would linger near towards the front of the building, of Brongrim's building, to kind of wait and see as things disperse.
As that was going on as well, Glyn would have been kind of scanning the crowd to see if he recognized who may have been the 4 captains, just to kind of get a beat on what they look like and who they might be, if they're even there.
You would probably guess that since there were 4 symbols or 4 figures up on top that lit the fire, those
Yeah.
they probably were up there. There was like most of the people that you didn't see a lot of, like, especially Cosmo would have recognized that none of the leaders from the Boulder Fist company were down in the crowd. They were probably most likely up on top.
Okay, and I would like kind of be taking a mental note of their appearance and kind of what they're wearing, and my time having to make myself look like someone else. I'd be kind of trying to pick up on key details that might help me with that in the future.
Okay. Yeah, are you trying to sneak into the room? It's starting to disperse at this point, and the procession from on top has even they've moved back down. And there's like a small group of people that are still up on top, maybe 10 to 15, but for the most part, it seems like everyone is kind of the people that were working in the mine at the time, like everyone's just kind of going back to their business and the crowd is dispersing. So are you trying to sneak into the office still, or are you gonna wait?
I look to Cosmo and kind of give him a nudge in the arm, be like, maybe now might be a good time to do this. I don't think too many people would be noticing.
Right. I'll stand and watch guard from the front door, and I pass him the envelope.
Yeah. So roll me a stealth, and you can use I guess you have the guidance still.
Is guidance?
Hey,
Is guidance?
Roll.
Oh,
I don't need it. 20. Stealth. 24.
Yeah, so I'll say that you're kind of able to, now that people are walking down and kind of walking down these meandering paths of like the compound of the Boulder Fist compound, it doesn't look like it doesn't catch anyone off guard that like, whereas before it would have been one solitary person walking up in front of everyone, now there's people just kind of walking down in multiple different directions. And so like you're able to pick a path that doesn't intersect with anyone and get up to Brongrin's, essentially the desk, and the front door is actually wide open, and so you're able to walk in and set the letter down there.
Well, that's not where I'd put it. So, looking around the room, do I notice any like doorways or pathways that might be, hidden? Like, assuming there's like a false wall behind where his desk is, you could kind of like walk to another room behind it.
Roll an investigation check.
Gauntlet Legends type things. If I start shooting arrows at walls, does a wall just disappear?
a Gauntlet Legends. That's great.
Well, this is what they call bad in my country. It's a 1.
Okay.
Ooh, Green Archer needs food badly.
Food is good.
Yeah. So okay, great, awesome. 1 is awesome. You are you're in the room and you're kind of like looking around at the walls really closely, and then you hear someone coming from behind, or someone you hear steps on the stone behind you, kind of echoing down the hallway, and you hear,
I would have been at the
what
front door.
What are you doing in here? Yeah, so he's at the very. Oh, you're at the front door.
I was at the front door.
Okay, so then you would see that Chav is, or not Chav, Chesk, Evan Chesk, the captain, is walking up to the door and is like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?"
Well, I was just watching the funeral view. I was actually waiting to speak with you after we were supposed to meet, I think, sometime today to kind of speak with you about what we found, I think.
Yeah, actually, well, I guess I was planning on summoning you to my office later, but we can take care of this now. Is Rangrim, are you there?
Yeah, Rangrim would be like near Cosmo. He
Okay.
might not be right at the front door, but
Okay. All right. Well,
Would I hear
just
this?
come
from
on.
inside?
Just
I would hear this kind of like echoing down the hallway.
he would be walking towards it and be like, "All right, let's actually just go into Brongrin's office."
we said we were going to meet
so-
Glyn at the Matic. He wanted to be there for this because he's law-abiding.
We need to find a place.
No.
That's less conspicuous than the Matic for this conversation.
Well, Chesk,
We'll meet him and then we'll come back here. We just have to meet him. He's bad with directions.
Chesk, there's been quite a bit of development, and Rangrim, my friend here, is a bit worked up. We was attacked last night by the assassin again.
Rangrim points to his eye.
And
Oh my god, it took your eye out?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and we have the dagger this time to show, but
All right. Listen,
great.
Let's
Chesk, let's move inside. Let's go inside, but I want to tell you that we was trying to search for more clues, and because
it's fine. It's fine. Listen, this is taking way too long. We need to, I don't have much time. Let's go in. And so he walks in, he's like, "Oh, good, you're here too. Let's," and shuts the door behind him. Listen.
I would try to sneakily flick the envelope under some papers out of like his purview.
Okay. Listen, I could ask you 100 questions. I honestly don't care. Sigrid has claimed blood rights to the Boulder Fist Company. She is the only living relative of Brongrin that is anywhere near here. She is essentially claiming that and not allowing any of us to talk about ruling this thing together or splitting any kind of ownership. She's essentially trying to move all of us out of the way.
Well, Chesk, we was in here looking. Glyn, did you find anything?
That's an interesting thing you bring up. I actually just happened to find this sealed letter, and I pull out the sealed letter that's on his desk under some papers.
Chesk.
What does it say? I ask, fucking terrified.
I hand it to Chesk. I don't like to get busy with other people's business. I feel like you should,
John,
go ahead and take this
you see a sealed letter with Brongrim's seal on it. If you'll motion to Discord, you'll find the contents if you'd like to read them.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh man. All right. If you're reading this, then it means I'm no longer on the plane of existence and have passed on to be with me ancestors. With all of the attack in the blood of his mind in recent days, I have decided to set a will for my seat on the council. Should anything happen to me in its defense. During these attacks, I have seen that dwarven honor in a young dwarf that I had not seen before in many years of his and his father's service to the Boulderfist Mining Company. Should the unthinkable happen, I elect to give my seat and seal to Kazmo Stoneheart. With honor, Rangrim Boulderfist.
And Glyn just looks like so shocked, but like dramatically shocked, like
performance check, deception check from what do you get performance check wise?
Natural 18, and the artiste that I am a 19.
Nice. You pull off the you pull that off. All right, Kazmo, I need a deception check for you and it's going to be contested against the insight of Chav or Chesk. God, why did I name them so closely? And it's because of the handwriting.
That's fine. All right. I'll give it.
I want to give Kazmo my inspiration.
What does that do?
Can you do that?
I have inspiration, right? Yes, I do.
I will let you give it to him because I will honestly say that this idea in general is relatively inspiring.
So what do I just do? So I roll it, and then what happens now?
You have an advantage because of that.
Okay. Son of a. I needed that advantage. What do you want? A deception?
Yes.
Deception.
Fuck yeah. It's a 22, motherfucker.
Okay. And that's contesting his insight, which was 11. So he reads this letter. He goes, "Well, this could work. This is something that could work. he never even talked about you. I can't. That's crazy. Well, so before, I mean, this is great. I I'm not gonna lie to you. Sigrid is still gonna fight you on this because it's as much as honor is important to the dwarven kind. She's probably the least honorable dwarf I've ever met. My plan, and this is really gonna. She's absolutely livid about the death of Brongrim.
What does she think it was?
She's blaming. She knows that whatever killed Brongrim came out of the Underdark, and she is absolutely set on driving the refugees back into the Underdark. She will not have them there anymore.
Well, what can I do? Because this is quite the surprise to me. Truthfully, in the previous days,
well,
in the previous days of defending what me hometown of Tin Town and fighting for the mines, you know, what can I do?
Well, that's good you asked. My plan was to challenge Sigrid in combat to be able to take over the position if I was able to beat her, and I don't know, that's a big if. She's much stronger than I am. But if I don't have to get my ass kicked, and I think you're stronger than I am, you can challenge Sigrid with this letter. You have the ability to do so. You can challenge her to combat, and if you win, then she will have to pass over the title to you.
That's quite the stake, but if it means defending me friends, me town, and those in need, I'll do it.
And he looks relieved, and he's like, guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was coming in here basically to tell you that I was going to essentially kill myself to try to stop her from sending them back down, or to driving the refugees out, because to try to take this over from her. But you have made my day with this. You have no idea. I hope you live. I really do, because she is out for blood. And if she knows that you are going to stand between her and that title, she is going to take you on a one-way trip to fuck up town that you are not going to want to get on board with.
Well,
I bet it's not a nice town.
No, it's rough.
Well, I'll do whatever I need to, and
beat her. That's what you need to do.
Consider it done. With me and my friends behind me, we can do whatever.
I think we might need some time to maybe discuss, but would you be able to extend this new bit of information to Sigrid so we can maybe set up a council meeting? I feel like there's got to be more than just us making this decision. Can we maybe get some time?
Challenge.
Sounds like you owe us a beer at least, but we could use some time as well.
By the bylaws, the challenge has to be done today at noon. The noon of the death of the previous essentially Brongrim.
Well, is it one-on-one, or how does these challenges normally work?
One-on-one. It will take place down, essentially out in front of the mine.
Very well then.
Glyn looks to Kazmo and just kind of hangs his head and is like, man, I thought we had a really good friendship. And I just kind of pat him on the shoulder.
Were you gonna give me any kind of blessing there? Because I felt nothing.
I got nothing for you, but and then I just kind of like somberly take a step back.
Well, I guess I just go out in front of the mine and challenge her to a duel then, huh?
No, okay. What you'll need to do is I already had all this planned because I was planning on assembling later and challenging her instead. She's going to be down there ready anyway, accepting challengers. Only people who have the right, which would have been the 3 captains aside from her, and now you, because of this letter, have the ability to challenge her. None of the other 2, Mokan and Gorman, were not planning on challenging her. They don't care. Mokan, all he wants is for someone to tell him what to do. And Gorman doesn't give absolutely 2 shits about it. So I was the only one who was going to stand in the way of this, but now you are. So I'm glad that there's someone else in the way so that my face doesn't have to be the thing that stops her. So just be there at noon. I'll have everything else ready to go.
We'll be there.
And bring that letter with you. Don't lose it.
I won't lose it.
And as Chess is walking out, real quick, is this like a fight to the death, or is this kind of you can tap and grab some beers afterwards and kind of say good job?
I think it's to the death, me friend.
It's kind of up to you. It's not supposed to be fight to the death, but like I said, it's Sigrid. And then he just walks out.
I reckon it might be to the death. But by the holy light, I will win and defend our friends.
This is just another day I thank my blessings that I am not a dwarf, and I walk out the door. And I guess kind of hold the door open towards the front where I'm guessing Sigrid just is.
No, it's not noon. It's early in the day.
Oh, okay, good.
You guys have like 4 hours at least.
Glyn, where did you put the seal of Rangrim's seal? And I just look around.
The original?
The real one.
I put that on the desk. Is it still there?
I think Kazmo's fate the only thing that's sealed around here. The seal is still sitting on the desk. Yeah.
All right, I put it on.
Enter Kazmo's brother, Kazmo.
Walk over to the games. Like I think we might need to catch up with Constable before we're going to take all this on, but
right,
we might be able to help each other out in this.
Let's head back to Luther's. We'll see if Constable's there, and I think I need to go into the hyperbolic time chamber or something.
You need to start doing some push-ups, man.
Here comes.
Just carb up.
Here comes.
Luckily, we can help a little bit. I'll cast 8 on the whole party. So.
Oh, nice.
How long does that last?
It's 8 hours.
Oh shit! Nice.
What is aid?
It's you have 5 added to your maximum hit points.
Oh, okay. Well, I know there's been a lot of eyes, but I think I might need one more eye. I need the eye of the tiger.
I wish we didn't give up that whistle.
Right?
Oh my god, I can't wait for a 4-hour montage of you punching beef and running upstairs.
So we start heading over towards. Did we tell him? We told him to meet us at Luther Legends, right? So we head over to Luther's Legends. Do we see?
Yeah. You get there and he's waiting outside, and he does not have a retinue of guards with him. It's just him.
Just him. Interesting.
Yes.
So, Chav, you're pretty brave to head over here alone, and I want to kind of give him a once over to make sure that it's Chav and not our sneaky little friend.
Does he?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Roll insight or investigation or something.
Natty 18 plus 5 is 23.
Yeah. So I'll say that you can tell that just the finer details of this person, like you notice that when Kazmo was being essentially duplicated, that he didn't have weapons and things like that, like items that he would have normally had. It seemed like it was limited to not being able to duplicate like weapons. And so like the smaller details of like the sword on their hip and things like that are here. And so you notice that you would take to this to be the real Constable Hunter.
Okay. And kind of just internally process that, open the door or hold the door open for him, like, welcome inside. And I point him towards the long table that goes to the building. I
appreciate it. This is quite an establishment. This is your place of business?
This is our place.
Don't really know.
This is our place of refuge. Yep.
It's very nice. Seems like it's meant to house a decent amount of people, or at least cater to events. It's just the 3 of you here?
It's
We have a warlord mage that's kind of on a walkabout right now, so they like to take care of this place.
Oh yes, I've Luther, correct?
right.
Oh,
That's
you've heard of him?
that's
I hear a lot of things. Yes, I do. Um, that's so you're saying they're out right now?
he travels often for materials for crafting. Uh, so I think he's off to fetch something. But
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
don't mean to pry. Just can't once you're you can't take the investigation out of the investigator. And so he kind of just goes and sits down at the table, and he pulls a bag off of his like his back pouch, and sets it on the table, and just he doesn't remark on it, but he just kind of sets it down. It's the same bag that you saw him pull the Hakor carapace out of before. Um,
Is it hook horror carapace shaped?
No. You noticed that last time too. It's just a small bag that he seemed to be able to pull it out of. So it must have some sort of magical properties.
Gotcha. I sit across from him on the long table and say, man, I've seen you pull some strange items out of that thing that doesn't quite look like it should fit, but you look like you have a lot of questions for us, and I feel like we've probably got some for you, but what exactly brings you to town?
That's kind of what I'm hoping for here. I think that we've moved past any kind of fear of. I hope that I've quelled any fear in you that I'm here to try to take you to jail or anything like that. I think that the events of last night have moved our friendship a little bit towards friendship. Again, I would be here today if it wasn't for that. So take that as a grain of salt that I do owe you, and I'm just trying to find out what is going on here. And what I hope is that we can have an exchange of information here that is going to help solve this and not get anyone in trouble. That's why I'm here alone. I want to help find out what's going on so that no one else gets hurt.
agreed. We too seek to understand why these things are attacking my town, and what it is that they're after.
Well, let me start. And he kind of takes the bag and he kind of dumps it onto the table, and then pulls a glove on, and kind of the carapace clatters out on the table. It's about this big, and it has that hand symbol, the red hand essentially, but it's not red because it's just embedded into it. And he goes, I know that I showed you this before, and I know that you said you don't know anything about it.
Never
So I
seen
guess
it.
you'll just have to listen then. And maybe it will illuminate you on some things. I've taken a look at this. This item, I don't know if actually you have you're a paladin or you have holy powers if I'm not mistaken, Cosmo.
That's right.
Do you have the ability to tell good and evil?
I do.
Do you mind casting it on this?
Uh,
Just so that you can tell something or confirm something that we've already taken a look at.
right. Yeah. So I do it.
Okay. Yeah, so let me take a look at detect good and evil, which I believe that's what it is, right?
Yeah. Here, I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Detect good and evil, it says for the duration, which is, I don't see the duration. Whatever. Moving on. You know if there is an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know if there is a place or object within feet of you that has been magically concentrated or desecrated. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it's blocked by 1 foot of stone. Blah blah blah. Not relevant. Table.
So the waves of just evil energy that are coming off of this thing is more than you've ever encountered. And you kind of probably take a step back because of the fact that you were handling this thing so nonchalantly during the time that, and it's centered around this symbol in the middle. And you are getting absolute aberration vibes off this thing. And Constable Hunter sees you take a step back and goes, "Yeah, we took a look at this. We took a look at this thing, and we actually had one of our resident Imperial wizards take a look at it. And though they weren't able to do the same kind of study that I can see just affected you, they could tell that the spells on this allow something to reach out through it. It's fitting that it's a hand symbol because something extremely, extremely powerful is able to literally reach their power through this as a conduit. I don't know whether it's linked in any way, shape, or form to the symbols that are around town, but something or someone who is in touch with this thing could easily be controlled by whatever is reaching through it, and it is immensely powerful. And that's
so you suspect that the mark bears the ability to control?
The mark itself is not what's powerful. It seems like whatever is able to use it as a conduit for its own power is extremely powerful. We're talking like celestial level power coming through this, but not a good kind of celestial. There's
Clearly.
something extremely evil and powerful that is reaching through this as a conduit.
So just to confirm, you suspect that this mark may be a conduit, but does not control the creature of which bears its mark.
Hold on 1 second. I need to look up detect good and evil again. Is it directional? Within 30 feet.
Radius.
Within 30 feet, you get insanely powerful vibes coming off of Rangrim's hand. The same ones.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Clear. I already had that in my head, which is why I'm asking the follow-up question. If it has the ability to control the beast that bears it.
Are you asking Constable Hunter?
Chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I would assume I would absolutely assume so. I don't have any experience with this. I mean, like I said, you have all told me, and I will take your word for it. Though I do have my doubts that you have never encountered this before. But if you haven't encountered, I have not encountered it taking control of anything, and if you have not either. But it does have the ability to, according to the research that we've been able to find.
It's so you're not sure, but it definitely can communicate through it and provide power.
Yes, absolutely.
But
like I said, it is literally a conduit. It is a way to channel this thing's power.
So then why do you think there would have been one on the side of me house?
I don't know. And so that brings me to my question. I've told you everything I know. So I ask you, is there anything you're not telling me?
Well, what I can tell you is that these marks have been showing up on beasts coming up out of the Underdark. The assassin that attacked you bared the same mark. Do you know why it would have been after you? You just got here,
No.
so...
No, but that brings me to the next kind of bad news. I don't think that it was attacking me to do any kind of vengeance or any kind of plan, except for the fact that I think it was distracting. That was a distraction tactic.
I think it tried.
We returned back to the barracks, and the two guards that had been or the two soldiers that had been left on duty were both dead. And the armory, essentially the explosives part of the armory, to be specific, is all missing. It's all gone. And I don't know what it intends to do with them. It sounds to me like you were able to chase it away, but
not without seeing a whole armory of explosives with it. We chased that thing all the way back down to and he just kind of stops talking.
I don't know. All I can say is we live in a world where things can be magically concealed, and the fact that things are big they don't always need to be big. But I don't know. They could be stashed here in town somewhere. They could be anywhere. But that's I don't think I was attacked for a reason other than to distract the rest of the soldiers to allow them to make their escape.
Can I do an inside check on like their retelling of just the armory being missing? Does it seem like they know more than they're letting on about that?
Yeah, roll insight.
It's 16. Yeah, 16.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to roll a deception against you. They seem like Constable Hunter seems like they're absolutely being on the level with you and they're just honestly trying to get you to be honest, you get the feeling that they know you're not telling them something, and they're not going to tell you that, but they want you to be honest with them. And so they're telling you the truth in hopes that through their honesty, will be able to convince you to do so. And that's the feeling you get from him.
Glyn kind of like, after he shares his piece, looks to Rangrim and Cosmo, says, Rangrim, I think we might want to show our hand, if we will. And I just kind of like look towards his right hand.
Shab, remember you said you owed me one.
I do.
Rangrim just unwraps his hand and places it on the table, just right out in front of him.
We don't.
He immediately kind of stands up and backs away, and you can hear like the chair like scoots back, and then kind of catches himself and collects himself, and then kind of comes closer. What are you saying, Kazmo?
I say we don't know what it means yet, but my friend Rangrim was branded down in the mines in one of these fights.
Rangrim just pulls his arm back quickly and redoes the wrapping on his hand, and
the beast came at him with more than might, but more with the power of his mind, and branded him, and then left.
What was it that did this?
And I just kind of I looked to Rangrim. Rangrim, you want to tell him what you saw?
It was some sort of spirit or apparition. It was more of a image than it was a thing. It was there and then it was gone.
Did it have any kind of distinctive characteristics? Did it look like was it like, what kind of creature did it look like? Was it humanoid?
Only Rangrim saw it with me and
kind of mind flayery. DM question.
It did look a little bit Davy Jones for sure.
Yes, well, I remember. Yeah, it was a humanish. It had a lot of what's the word for it? I'm not good in common. A lot of things on its face, like fingers, but like arms, and it was. I think it was purple.
And he's like trying to like put these things together in his head. He's like you're not talking about an illithid, are you?
Illithid, yep, those dicks, the very same. I knew I saw them somewhere.
Well, that absolutely is horrifying to hear. I'm not going to lie. I don't have much knowledge of the Underdark creatures. I think that that's going to be something that I'll have to look into. We of course do have experts, but and he kind of puts his hand out and like on your other hand, the one that's not bandaged, is like, I appreciate you and your honesty. That probably took a lot to tell me the truth on that. And so, Cosmo, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you did your detect good and evil, are you getting the same feelings from this mark?
I am.
We're going to have to keep an eye on this for your safety and for everyone else's. I hope you understand.
I have, which is why I've asked the questions I have. You know, it was very strange. Only Rangrim saw the beast. Me and Glenn couldn't see it.
But
I mean,
you
I was
were
busy
there?
killing the beast. I don't know what you were doing, but I had my
That's
hands
an
full.
important question, though. There's important distinguishment.
So it was, so I'll tell you, it was during the same battle as that Uber Hulk, that carapace thing you got there. We cut it out of the chest of the beast when it came through.
This one's, from my understanding, this was from an earlier fight with a hook horror. They did recover a larger symbol off of the Uber Hulk as well, though.
Right. Same story, different chapter. Big beast. We fucking killed it.
The strange thing about that is that
Pretty sure I killed that one too.
from our wizard's study of that creature in the carapace, it seems that was actually magically enlarged. Something made that size. It wasn't supposed to be that. And so there is something that is, whatever's sending these things up is designing these things to get through and to challenge you. And they're getting stronger.
Right. I reckon they are. They hurt a little bit more.
I definitely I felt those Wampins a little extra hard last time too.
I want to
Being on the
say,
front line and everything.
nearly lost my life to the Uber Hulk.
So, Constable, what do you think we should do about this? We've got a little bit of time before we have another, I guess, meeting we need to attend to. But what
Well,
are you
yeah.
gonna be in town for a while? What do you make of all this?
I'm going to be in town. As long as I'm alive, I will be trying to help figure out what's going on here. We'll ask one more thing, which is to just keep this to yourselves. Don't pass this on to anyone. I've been more honest in here than probably should have, but I just
Agreed.
felt like I felt like it was necessary to be able to really put everything out on the table, and I appreciate you doing so as well. You still don't know how that thing got up on the wall?
I still don't know how it
told you,
got
man,
up
it was
there.
those kids.
I mean,
Damn kids.
I really wish I knew. I woke up and it was there. That's really all I remember. I wish I could tell you more.
Well, whether or not that's true, I think that we have more pressing concerns at the time, but I appreciate what you have told me.
Agreed.
And he gets up and shakes your hands and just kind of reaches out and just goes, and when he's leaving, just to Rangrim, just we're not gonna set guards on you. Just if you feel like you're becoming a danger to people, just come find me. Just that's all I ask.
I will. I haven't done anything too crazy yet.
Right, you can trust that me and Glenn around Rangrim here, we'll keep him in check. But we would appreciate your what's the word? Is there one on those hot dog wrappers? Your just don't tell anybody, okay?
Promise.
I need to
I think
eat
discretion is what you're looking for.
discretion. I need to eat
There you
more
go.
DOS dogs.
I like how we just left him out there on that line to just like completely strangle. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So he gets up and heads on out, and just yeah, that's just kind of leaves you there in the room.
How much time before noonish?
I'll say that you are probably getting pretty close. If you wanted to head down there, you could.
I want to make a stop by Pops at like around 11ish. I would want to make a stop by Pops,
Okay.
but before
Wow, look at that! It's 11ish.
before
Weird.
I whatever an hour before noonish is. Maybe noon is like 16. Who fucking knows? But before I leave to go to Pops, look to Kazmo say, I've had a few of these one-on-ones, and they generally do end in death. I hope you two come to an agreement that might be a little more sustainable, if you will, but I've learned that every little leg up counts, and I'd like hand him the vial that I was able to distill and say, coat this on your war pick before you go in, but don't, dear God, don't touch it.
Right.
And then I like walk out the door, start heading towards Pops. And I'm getting to Pops, and I knock on the door. I'm like, Pops, it's me.
Hello?
Pops, it's me. It's Glyn. Bang on the door louder.
Oh yeah. Did we have a? No, we didn't have a code word. Okay, yeah,
Open
come
the
on
door.
in.
Well, there should have. Was there a code word? No, that was just with Madge.
I
That's
don't
Madge.
think that. I think that you said you were going to come back with you and Cosmo, but he wouldn't know because he can't see you. So he just opens the door.
Pops, you have arguably the worst security in this whole town, and you have the most technology to stop it. It's really quite upsetting.
Yeah, he's just moving around the room at his kind of accelerated pace. Comes up and like shakes your hand, and then he's just again gnome with giant goggles on that make his eyes huge. And just as he moves, it seems like he leaves a trail almost of like past hymns that go back probably about a foot or so.
I'm like,
Almost as if he's leaving like a trail of himself.
can I make a swipe at like the farthest back one? Do I feel anything? Like if I just like kind of like casually reach out, try to grab his latest swipe or his latest.
So
form?
I'll say that as you're moving through it towards him closer, it doesn't seem like there's very much towards the end, but it does seem like there's a little bit of resistance more as you get closer to him.
Okay, so I like kind of like make this awkward distance because I can't tell which one I'm supposed to be avoiding. And I look to Pops. I'm like, Pops, I have a commission piece for you that I need you to make me, and there's no real rush on this, but when you get some time.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, of course, I love making things. What can I do for you?
So I need a device that will be able to sustain a steady flow of air. Just not a ton, not enough to blow somebody away, but just enough to keep something filled with air. If it was, sealed on the other side, maybe about 10, 20 feet high. You think you can put something together for that?
I can imagine some sort of powered bellows, maybe something that is powered by some sort of magical heat, maybe. I'll have to do you have any, if you don't have any plans in mind, I can what is it filling?
Just a small, almost like a bag. Picture a bag maybe about 20 feet tall, real narrow, nothing too crazy. I mean, I imagine it'd be, as strong as that old wizard that came to town, that little gust trick that he kept casting. Just something real mellow.
Oh yeah, no, I think that we could probably work something like that up. I probably have it ready by tomorrow. We might have to do a couple modifications, but I can have this core structure of it done tomorrow. And I'm thinking some sort of, it's going to be big because of needing to do, but I mean maybe this big. And he's like small, but he's like holding it above his head. And he's like this big.
That's fantastic. I know exactly where I can put it. Perfect. Thank you so much. Let me know what I can owe you, or even get you, or if you need me to, help tune up some of these contraptions you made that aren't quite triggering correctly. Let me know.
I think you and your friends still owe me some gems, but
You got to leave town to collect gems. That's on us. We got quite a bit going on. There's going to be a really cool brawl later today if you want to see our friend here, and I like kind of point to Kazmo, who's probably breaking something in the corner.
Yeah,
he's gonna fight
I saw
Cigarette.
Oh, I actually was watching the wait, he's gonna be fighting
Cigarette. Yeah, he's crazy.
Oh no. Well, I guess we'll have two funerals today.
I am a big Bonfire fan, but I think
one for Cigarette and the other one for Bong Rips.
Oh, I think I was going the other way, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
Thanks for your faith in me, Glyn. And then I turn to Rangrim and I just like, Rangrim, he was always a true friend.
Oh,
I guess
know, right?
I guess I know what I'll be watching tonight. And he goes over to the wall, and there's like this big magnifying glass piece of like, it's like this, yeah, magnifying rectangle, and then it's kind of tied to this like periscope thing, and he pushes it up, and it pops out the ceiling, and then as he's moving it around, you can see it kind of like focus in on like the area in front of the Boulder Fist mining compound down in the dirt area on the northern side, and you can see that people are grouping there, and there's like a kind of a circle in the middle that is open.
Look,
And it's just kind of like, it's almost like a TV, but it's essentially like a periscope TV that he can see out the top without having to go outside of his little house.
look,
I'm
Glyn,
away.
you can sit here with your friend Pops and eat some popcorn while I'm out there fighting for my life in me town.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. I'll go grab some
I do make
DOS
really
dogs
good
and we can
popcorn.
hang out here.
I make great popcorn.
I'll grab the dogs and I'll meet you back here in let's call it 30 minutes.
Fucking
Are you
elf.
actually gonna hang out with Pops and
We'll see.
watch it?
We'll see what happens when it
I
starts.
would turn and walk outside, just fucking elves.
Yeah, I mean, he's always going to dodgy, but that's cold.
Just like completely chipper, follow them out and wave to Pops like, I'll see you in a little bit, and just keep following. It's like, all right, boys. I like get all like excited about like the idea of a duel, and I like kind of massage Cosmo's shoulder, getting him all amped. I'm like, this is the fun stuff, man. 1-on-1, mano y mano. Let's do this.
Cosmo just kind of shrugs him off, and he's like, I'm not ready for this, mate. Just don't touch me.
Do we make our way? I'm gonna follow you guys. So, we make our way that way?
It is 11, right?
It's it's like 11:30 if you want to make your way down there. Everyone is starting to amass, and you can see that there is a form standing, kind of a very burly form that is standing in the center of this ring, kind of off to one side a little bit, and they're kind of pacing, and you can see them swinging some weapons around.
Okay. So we can make our way down towards the front of the mine. But I'm not like I'm trying to be sneaky, but I'm certainly not trying to like make a big appearance.
You're not walking in with your wand and like doing punching.
This is not walking tall. Before we leave,
Rangrim got the millionaire strut going on behind him.
I'm doing the flaming whirling dervish. Just
before we
Light the whole
leave
town up.
Pops's, Kazmo would coat the pick side of his war pick with the poison.
So, one question. I just describe, like, I assume right now you're wearing more armor than you normally would. So, like, what does Cosmo's armor look like?
So Kazmo, like, would have pretty much just pulled all of his father's old, like, paladin armor out of
Sick.
Just, like, he is praying. He definitely led with his heart and is now freaking out. And internally, he's never faced anything quite head on like this. One, it's a dwarf, another dwarf, and so is kind of feeling conflicted about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, he internally, he kind of he unknowingly signed himself up for this.
Yeah.
Because I think in his mind, he put himself in the realm of the council in order to try and be more diplomatic, and is now being faced with force, and so he's so conflicted mentally, but willing to fight for what he believes is right. And so his armor really just kind of reflects that, where he's dusted off, like he's got like shiny paulders that bear the mark of like the paladin.
Yeah, Golden Grim.
Golden
Yeah,
Grim.
like Yeah, it's your dad's like old paladin armor back from before the
Mhm.
Sundering when he was a paladin
Mhm.
for like the Golden Grim.
Yeah. And he now has like, because before he kind of carried like a exactly, like, it's just, imagine this much more immaculate, polished golden, well, nobody knows who Golden Grim is, but we'll have to kind of talk
Right.
about that.
Golden Grim is a dwarven kingdom that is on the other continent of Nuarda, and that's where
It was
Cosmo
one of
is
the
from.
yeah, it was one of the most like elaborate, decorative, like dwarven cities, and his father was
Also
a
high tech.
high
Yep. Also high
technology.
tech. Yeah. So that a lot of war forges were developed there, and like flying machines, things like that, were developed there. And so
Mhm.
that it was a city that was lost for a long time, and then hundreds of, like, I guess, while ago now at this point,
Mhm.
it's resurfaced again for whatever reasons. But essentially, that's where Cosmo, the Stonehearts, came from. Was that place? His dad worked there
Right.
or was a paladin for them,
Mhm.
uh, and then after the Sundering, they made their way to Tin Town. But
And so now he has his father's like shield, and the war pick that Cosmo has been using was kind of found. It was his father's war pick, and whatever paladin might that he's been given, he doesn't know where it's coming from, but hopes that by bearing his father's armor will grant him some.
you do get the feeling, and this, like, just, I mean, your powers showed up when you found that war pick and picked it up. So
Yeah.
you would assume that your powers in some way, shape, or form were awakened by this weapon. And so, like, that's probably where you would feel like, hey, this is where my power is coming from. It's not coming from the shield or coming from the armor, but it's
No.
like this pick is somehow connecting you to this divine source that you don't know its origin of.
Yeah.
But
Right.
aside from that, you're dudded up in all of your dad's ceremonial armor. That is something you don't normally wear.
No. Mm-mm.
For what it's worth, Glyn is wearing like his like daily clothes, the
Tidy
like,
whities.
yeah, the silk, like big sleeves, big flowy. He is not like combat dressed. He is like, this is a fun event for him to go to.
Cosmo would, as we kind of approach the crowd, what do we see?
As you're kind of pushing your way through the crowd, I assume, I mean, you're shorter, so you're not going to be able to see through right away, but you can hear like this smashing of metal things together, and then someone kind of just going like, ugh, ugh, as they're and like down in front of you, like past in the crowd, and the crowd itself is just kind of murmuring and muttering, but it's not really. And so as you push your way, are you pushing your way all the way through the front to the opening?
Not all the way to the opening. I'm kind of staying like a layer or two of people back. As I kind of move towards the inner circle, it's like keeping a person or two, just kind of keeping myself lower to the ground, just to kind of get a look at what's going on in the circle.
Okay, so in the middle of the circle, kind of off to the other side of it. And picture this as kind of like essentially like a pit at a concert. That is what you're looking at here. The
Right.
people are densely around it, but it's a pretty wide circle. And you see you don't, I mean, you would assume it's just Stigrid, but they are so heavily armored and are wearing like full, like pretty much full face mask kind of thing, and their armor is this like dark steel that has these like riveted spikes covering the entire thing. You would have heard of this as being like battle rager armor. Like, this is armor that's designed to be able to hurt someone whether or not you actually have your weapons in your hand. And so her armor is spiked all around it. And it's like this, like I said, it's this dark steel. And she is wielding two very large morning stars. And she is just spinning them and like clanging them together and like spinning them on the ground. And she's just like walking back and forth. And she is just looks like she's psyching herself up, and probably the crowd pretty much too.
Right.
I'm so glad I'm not Cosmo.
What time is it now?
I mean,
It's time.
It's time. It's time.
Okay. So, oh fuck. Okay.
So I see Glyn sees Cosmo like a little apprehensive, like to stand there, and I like get kind of excited. I like grab him on her shoulders, like, Cosmo, do you want me to introduce you? I got this.
No. I just kind of looked at Rangrim and I just say, Rangrim, I just really want your blessing. Just the biggest blessing you got, friend.
You got it. And he's just eating a hot dog.
And as I see,
Just kidding. He's of course, my friend. And hashtag bless. I actually cast it on the 3 of us because I can do up to 3 creatures. So let's go.
Right.
Wish it was 4 and just like Gary in the crowd gets like a blessing out of nowhere. Just like
across
I feel
the
so
room.
powerful.
Glyn.
takes his wife hand, he's like, it's time.
Yeah. This is a new day for Gary. I'm changing everything.
Guys, I wanna just thank you. Whatever happens here, you guys are the best friends. And then I turn around and I just yell with this dwarven yell, just cigarette. And then I just go ahead.
No, keep going. What are you doing?
I just say, cigarette. I challenge Makara. And I just I kind of push my way through the last 2 layers of people.
Yeah, so you push your way out into this opening, and Sigrid immediately, you yelled, so immediately takes notice of you, and she's kind of spinning one of her morning stars, and then she kind of lets it kind of drop to the ground and hits it and it sinks halfway into the ground, and she just looks over at you and goes, let's do this. And then that is where we're going to end tonight's episode.
You're so fucked. You're so screwed, dude.